Ah,
Hola Madridistas, my bad. Hola Madridistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. If you guys are new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 4K. Big up our sponsors as always, Talksport Fan Network. Talksport, as you might probably know, the biggest sports radio station in the world. Go check out their socials. Go show them some love. Yeah. Big up Talksport, man. They have been supporting true fan football movements like us for the past 3 4 years. So yeah, more flowers to them, to be honest. Also go check out Fantex as well, official partners of La Liga and Real Madrid. The link is in the description below. Right then, Farouk, let's get into it. Probably our easiest win of the season, right? um Although scores would have deceived how we usually performed, especially in the league tonight. I think uh, performance wise, and on the scoreline, it was largely uneventful. Apart from two major goals in terms of quality and class, but we were barely tested. I've followed the Parakeets Espanyol throughout the start of this new season, and they have looked incredible. Picking up points against Atleti, uh, Stern showings. I think they drew just one game coming into this game. They were, I think, fourth on the table. They just looked like they had a chip on their shoulder. But I don't know what happened to Espanyol, man. I thought they didn't really give a good account of themselves. Um, Probably, the Bernabeu lights, they shone bright. Probably they got a bit blinded by it, but yeah, they barely laid a glove, to be honest. Apart from maybe that one chance where Thibaut was caught scrambling on the floor, and Militao had to, thwart a near post shot. Yeah, very unimpressed, to be honest. This is why I'm telling you. This is why the neutrals, or the people watching La Liga for the first time, get turned off pretty easily, because all these mid-table, so-called mid-table, or big up Espanyol, they came back to La Liga only a couple of years back, and they have been on the rise over the last couple of years, and they're looking really really good. But when it comes to the big games, I mean against the top clubs, they seem a bit lacking. But yeah, but Farooq, talk to me. Initial thoughts, quick impressions.
man, I think one thing that I would say is that you're starting to see a difference, man, because I can
Mm,
count the amount of times that, we're able to win the ball back as quickly as we've done in this game, over the last
mm,
4 or 5 years. Like that's something that's basically not happened. You're seeing
mm,
Vinicius Junior tracking back, you're seeing Kylian Mbappe tracking back and winning the ball back. So one thing is obvious is that you're starting to see the imprints of Xabi Alonso on this team. It's like
mm,
basically the idea there is like for them is that okay, you have to just win the ball back in the opposition's half. Either that or you disrupt the flow by committing a cynical foul, which is what we saw
mm,
like with the fouls that were committed throughout the game as well. You could see like they were like fouls that you're thinking, wow, they're so far away from goal. Why do you even have to foul this person there? The
mm.
I mean, one glaring example is you look at the Chouameni he got in the first half. It was like literally in the opposition half. Like, why do you have to trip him anyways? So like there is no
Yeah,
point in that. But one thing that we can see is like the speed at which these players hustle and puff, to win back this position in the opposition half. Either that or committing fouls. So I think like that's one. I get what you're saying about the game being uneventful, and I agree with that. But I think for me, like that was the biggest, impression that I got from the game was like, okay, we're seeing this. Like, I mean, we've been seeing this at a game slowly, but now you can see the gradual development. And in this game, it's became even much more obvious that this is what they're trying to do. Win the ball back as quickly as possible.
mm, 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 mm. I know, I completely agree. I mean, that was something that was always evident, right? The We kind of talked about it, me and Sahil, during the midweek post match after Marseille, that yes, we do have a pressing scheme, and we look to win the ball back pretty quickly. But he points out something that really um, sounded right for me. The fact that we do press well, but against the good sides, against sides that can really play through the press, we lack a counter press in the sense that we lose a ball and then we might press half-heartedly for the first 2-3 seconds, but then it isn't cohesive, it isn't structured or intensive enough to really force a turnover. And although I might agree with the fact that what you said, like we tend to kind of put out fires pretty early on, pretty high up the pitch and whatnot. Espanyol never really tried to play through us. The odd occasion they did, they completely found themselves in promising positions. That's my worry, man. And I've said this for the longest time.
I will counter say this. You cannot make such a claim when you haven't played a top team. You understand?
Oh yeah. But Marseille, in the sense that it was a Champions League game, and the fact that how well they were set up, even though they are on the top side, they only won 2 games so far. I mean, up until when we played them, they had only won 2 games out of the 4 they played. So they aren't necessarily a top side, but some a side that can really go toe to toe with us. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, like, you can only play what's in front of you, right? So, like, I mean, it's not, this is not, or even like we spoke with Kanishk about this, like, right now, till now, we haven't seen anything. When we go towards the end of the month, when we play Atletico Madrid, we go into the international break, you come back, you play Barcelona, you play Juventus, you play Liverpool. That will give us a real measure of what it is. But what I'm saying to you now is that last year we played Espanyol. I didn't see us winning the ball back the way we won the ball today. You understand? So, like, of course, like, still, like, the game is still uninspiring. Like, we created just one clear-cut chance, the one that Mbappe missed from the fantastic move from Vinicius. I think that's the only one I can remember. Like, that I would say that, this is a proper, what you would define as a chance. Everything else was like quarter chance, a half chance. Defensively, we're still all over the place. But you understand, like, what I'm just saying is that you can see that, okay, this is where the team is trying to go. This is the direction that they're trying to go. And with all due respect to Carlo, this is something that I never saw then. We just were playing without any style, without any pattern, without anything. Of course, it's still too early to say, like, will this eventually work out or not? We don't know. You understand? But one thing you can see is that, like, the players are, like, now fighting. Like, Vinicius Jr. was, like, tracking back continuously, constantly. Kylian Mbappe was winning the ball back in the 78th or was it the 80th minute, of the game. So, like, these are things that we haven't seen before. So, like, that's why I said, like, this for me was, like, it was a very uneventful game. But this was the thing that, stood out to me. Like, it was like, oh, wow, so this is something that can actually happen. I mean, we were told that, people don't need to track back. But apparently, they can track
back. Well, I get the optimism, but, even under Carlo, it was in flashes, right? It wasn't something that was a sustained thing. But, when he used to track back, when he used to fight for, possession and whatnot, but it wasn't clearly enough. We all knew that. But I do get the optimism, and we see that as a collective more now so than ever. The likes of Mastantuono, even when Arda Güler is on the pitch, he gives his all to really, basically win back possession. But keeping that aside, right? Yes, there are clear improvements. Let's focus on how well we kind of had the. Sometimes I've noticed, under Xabi Alonso, we kind of look very sluggish, right? We looked. I've used this term way too much. Labored in possession, side to side. Wait for the opposition to step out of their defensive shape, commit, and then basically take advantage of that. But today we saw Militao, who I don't know if you remember, Farouk. I don't know if you even remember seeing the footage that he scored a goal from basically his own half, way beyond the halfway line against Leganes. This was in pre-season. There was a drone shot that showed Militao scoring that goal. The goalkeeper didn't even expect it to go in. So he already did that once this season. Although it was a preseason friendly, it was behind closed doors, it wasn't telecasted. But tonight, man, that goal, the swerve on it, I mean, I haven't seen Ramos hit one that sweet, apart from maybe from a set piece. It was that good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it was like, like the defenders, like actually to the words of the commentators of the game, like they were like almost like daring him to shoot, It was like they were like just pushing back. And he was like, yeah, then like what's the worst thing that could happen? And honestly, like yeah, man, like I don't think you can hit a ball better than that, man. Honestly, like that was, a sweetly hit ball. Like it's something that came out of nothing. You use the word like we are very levered in possession. That's why I said like, we are unable to create chances, and it's still so easy to bypass our midfield. It's super easy to bypass our midfield. So although like like Espanyol wearing, as you said, like it was okay. I mean, from a neutral fan or a Espanyol fan, it was a bit disappointing that they didn't offer anything offensively. But from our perspective, it's great. Like I mean, that's what you want. Like you want something that's not gonna like be too much of a hassle, especially with the fixtures that you have. The team did not create anything, so we needed that moment of individual brilliance because otherwise, I just did not see a way, that we were gonna get through this game. And like yeah, as you pointed out, like well, that's one thing. Our centre backs have always been known to like take a shot here and there. Whether it's Ramos, whether it's Rudiger, whether it's Alaba, and Militao as well. So it was it was a sweetly hit shot. Like honestly, like it was a spark in an otherwise dull, I think, first 20-30 minutes of the game. Like honestly.
Mm-hmm. I do believe Dimitrovic actually got fingertips to it, but yeah, it was so well struck and it had so much curve on it. He didn't really stand a chance. But I'm pretty sure that goal really took the wind out of Dimitrovic, because after that he just looked like he didn't want to play any part. He just wanted to book the nearest taxi home. He just looked like he was his confidence was shot, as you could see from the Mbappe goal as well. I mean, see, Mbappe has done that in the box for years, right? Opening the body and basically fooling the keeper, making him think that he's going far post and then boom, near post. But have you ever seen him do this from outside the box and be successful at it? I've never, Farouk.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, the shot is insane. But the keeper, what was he thinking? Dimitrovic, experienced keeper as well.
Exactly, man. So I think that's the thing. Like, it was an unexpected shot, and also like there was crowd, there was traffic as well around there. So like he saw the ball only too late. Hence the reason why he could actually not even make a proper attempt to actually like go after the ball. Like that's just the thing. It caught even I myself by surprise because as you mentioned, like it's not something
I thought it was a deflection.
Exactly. It's not something that we're used to seeing from Kylian Mbappe. So also like as a goalkeeper or maybe even as a defender, like you study these players before you go into the game. So like you're not expecting certain kind of movements or let's say certain kind of action from certain kind of players. And I think that was something that caught them off guard, honestly. And also like just being just immediately after the halftime as well, I think also compounded to that as well. But yeah, honestly, like I think Dimitrovic was like completely bamboozled with the shot, man. He didn't even know what happened until that hit him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, quickly, before we move on, Militao apparently told his wife that he would score a goal for her today. So, probably, he might have to keep telling them, basically it might really help us out because we really lack those threat from outside the box. I mean, sure, many let's rip from time to time, but yeah, we need more of them, man. We need more of them. If you remember back in the day, while we were growing up, the amount of people who could actually hit long range shots and really keep us on their toes, we had a few of them. Now it's maybe it's the way we play. It's so much more possession oriented and whatnot. It's so much more safer. I would like. I've said it even before. The Fedias of this world. We need more of them. We need to keep goalkeepers really, guessing, because if we play side to side against a well drilled low block, yeah, man, it's I mean, we're gonna keep doing that all day, to be honest. But yeah, coming back to Mbappe, again, I think this is the dream start. It almost looks like he's unstoppable. Even though the first half he looked kind of silent, a bit of a different role. He had to he not had to basically occupy so much of the central space today because we had Gonzalo Garcia in that spot, and Gonzalo was a reference point. Vinny and Mbappe was kind of interchanging flanks from time to time and being dynamic. But yeah, when he's on it, there isn't much you can do. But like he probably could have done a bit better for the Vinny assist, if you remember. I mean, the attempted assist when Vinny basically tore one out for Cabrera. He just knocked it past him like he wasn't there. I mean, took a ton of pace and then a low cross into the box. Maybe the bounce of the ball kind of made it difficult for Mbappe, but he should be finishing it, in the vein of form he's in right now. But yeah, no qualms about Mbappe, man. He's looking like this might be his year. I just hope we can really add the collective accolades to back his case, in the Ballon d'Or next season. Because I'm pretty sure for him watching Ousmane Dembele lift it, next Monday or Tuesday or something, it's gonna be funny. But yeah, man, quickly, Vinicius looked frustrated at times for large parts of the season. Looked dejected. Looked like he was alone in this war against the Empire for his left wing spot. What did you make of his performance tonight? I thought he looked very driven.
Yeah, exactly. Like today, it was really, really a different kind of it was a different performance from Vinicius Junior in the sense that he was more how should I say? Let's not say the word motivated. I don't know if maybe driven was the word, but he was more like a part of a team, the part of the collective, and not trying to like make individual stuff happen. But I think that's eventually because whether we like it or not, like this team has like the coaching staff and the management has shown that this team is killing about this team. This is just the reality. Like whether you like it or not, that's a thing.
Now there is no place to hide for Vinny. Is that what you're insinuating?
So like the point now is that actually, I mean the thing here is that the what Vinicius did today, like in certain moments, actually shows what he can offer to the team playing alongside Kylian Mbappe. As you mentioned, like the move he made that led to the scuffed shot from Kylian Mbappe. So like those kind of situations whereby there was a couple of shots he had, like there were a couple of.
He hit the post as well.
Exactly, he hit the post and also like I feel like that's the kind of contributions now that Vini needs to start making to the team rather than trying to like be the protagonist of this team, being the main man of this team. He has to just understand that okay, now like they have taken a different direction as a team. I am no longer that A member, now I am like more or less a B option. So now I have to like play as a part of the team. And actually, that move actually led to the Mbappe sculpture. I don't know what you think, but I actually personally felt that Vinicius intentionally took the touch that took him away from goal so that he could square the ball back.
Yeah, you have a point, yeah.
I don't think it was a missed touch. I think it was like an intentional touch to move away from goal so he has a chance to square the ball back. That's what I think. And I feel like that's the way most likely, I don't know, I feel like that's the way to coexist between these two because I personally feel like it's not possible to coexist between Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Junior. If this is the path that he's going to keep going down, then I think, this is maybe the way to coexist.
100%. I mean, I completely understand what he might be going through because, from being an undisputed starter and being the poster boy to basically, being an afterthought. Let's be honest, he's largely an afterthought at this point compared to how he was, revered a couple of years ago. The whole Rodrigo rotation and whatnot. Jude Bellingham coming back. It's going to be very interesting how Xabi Alonso is going to keep everyone happy because everybody is going to be fighting for minutes. We'll be playing games every 3 days. I think we might have a good few opportunities to freshen things up. But against the big sides, people are not going to take being benched lightly. I just hope, I just hope they find their best level. And Xavi Alonso recognizes rightly that, some people shouldn't be taken off or shouldn't be rotated until they are kind of, a bit fatigued, and maybe resting them is the best option. Until then, to keep the rhythm, to keep their momentum, I think he should play the likes of Mbappe and Vini into form. I think Mbappe is in red hot form, but we need Vini clicking, and we have seen encouraging signs throughout the last couple of weeks. Ever since we came back from the international break, but I think he himself needs to be in and amongst the goals to really feel at home. I do think that's bothering him. It's only natural, and I want that kind of frustration from one of our top boys, because if he's in frustrated, if he's in really feeling like this isn't going well, then there's a problem, right? We need players really wanting it, and it's nice. Rodrigo, when he came on, he did his fair thing as well. But we all know, what Vinicius can offer when he's on top form. Quickly, Farouk, you touched upon it lightly earlier. Our midfield is so easy to play through, right? People often point out, pointed out for large parts during the start of the season, Fede Valverde is basically, an invisible door. He just is there. We all know that he does his job basically, not to the extent that he was demanded of maybe in the Carlo era, but despite Tchouaméni playing out of his skin, it almost looks like the teams that play us really find it super easy, Farouk. Like, how can we really fix it? Jude Bellingham being back is a huge boost to our chances of really tightening it up, but in general, I think it's a fundamental issue, because when we go chasing the ball, I think we are susceptible to really being carved open pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's very, very, very easy to play through. Like, I don't know why that is, honestly, but I think also the makeup of the midfield matters a lot. I just feel like, in my opinion, I understand, again, I keep going back to the same issue. It's not like I have an agenda against Arda Güler. He's been really good. But the question is he actually the person you want to trust, to go against the likes of Paris and Barcelona, like, when push comes to shove?
Xabi also literally said in the post-match press conference that don't be fooled by the narrative that Jude Bellingham and Arda Güler can't play together. They obviously can play together, he's saying, and Arda Güler can play a lot more deeper, and Jude Bellingham, much more farther up the pitch. Do you see that happening, and keeping and basically maintaining a solid structure in midfield?
So, for now, no. I mean, okay, yeah. So let's also remember what he said at the beginning of the season, that we have to let Arda make mistakes, right? And basically, he's saying to us that Arda has to learn on the job. But then, at what cost is that going to be?
Yeah.
Understand? So that's why
that's a fair point.
I feel like, I'm not trying to pinpoint. Fede Valverde has also been invincible, honestly. Like, that's just the reality. Like, I don't think I've seen games where I could not notice, that Fede was playing. It's insane, honestly. But this is what it is right now. Like, he has been, Tchouaméni has really stepped up a lot. Really, compared to what he was last season, Tchouaméni has stepped up quite a lot, honestly. He hasn't still reached the level that he should be at. Let's not, make any mistake about that. But at least he stepped up from what he was and stuff like that. Well, for me, one thing I do think is that you mentioned Jude, but I'm actually looking more forward to seeing what kind of thing I can bring into this team, especially that Arda Güler is playing currently. You understand? Because what he's saying is that, Arda and Jude can coexist in the team, which means that most likely one of the forwards is going to go away. Which I'm assuming is going to be the right winger. Like, Mastantuono might be the casualty of this. I'm not sure what it's going to be. But I'm just thinking is that, adding Camavinga into this team, we already know the physicality he has. We know, the strength he has in tackling more or less as well. So I think maybe that could also be, a sort of balance creation that that we're looking for in the team. But then that takes away the whole idea of triangular days, like, you have a deep line playmaker who has the ability on the ball as well, which I think,
Mm.
like, Camavinga doesn't have as much as what, Arda Güler can offer on the ball.
Camavinga is half decent, but I completely understand what you mean. I do believe, deploying Arda Güler against top sides deeper is a recipe for disaster. I mean, yes, he really puts his body about, but he can't really be that man who can stop a counter attack all on his own. He just can't. He just doesn't have the defensive nous to really play that position, or not yet, at least. I don't think how much you can coach that. I really don't. You either have it or you don't. I think it also has to do with a bit of you have to enjoy, defending and enjoy, yeah, to really, because like I don't think it comes naturally to people, to be honest. But let's see how it pans out. I mean, Kamavinga, you bought Kamavinga. I completely kind of put Kamavinga in the back burner for the for right now, because I do think he'll take a bit of time to really come back from his injury. He isn't Jude Bellingham, so I'll have to really we'll have to really give Kamavinga time to get back to his very best. But I'm pretty sure, like you said, he's gonna give this midfield a lot more steel, without a question, Carvajal, Farouk. Should we have a conversation? Is it too early to have a conversation? Has he been convincing for you? I mean, he has been okay. I know he's coming back from a long injury, but the worrying aspect for me is the fact that it's not just the fact that Trent is out. Even when Trent is playing, he isn't exactly the right back that can really, shut up shop like what Alvaro does on the left. So that right back spot for me is a major concern. We'll be dealing with top left wingers for the major part of the season.
I agree, and that's something that discussions needs to be had eventually later on. But however, I do think we have to give Carvajal a bit of the benefit of the doubt, because like this is someone that has proven himself like multiple times over, and he's coming back from like a career-threatening injury. He was out for 8 months, 7 months, if I remember correctly. So I think it will take a bit of time for him to like click into that gear again. It will take honestly a bit of time. So because of that, I would say let's give him the benefit of the doubt. However, like you also highlighted Trent, I mean, I don't think you're gonna get what you're getting from Carreras from Trent Alexander. Like that's
never, no.
That's the thing. Like that's why for me, like I have no problem. Like I know what Trent is. I know what Trent offers, and I know what Trent doesn't offer. Actually, yesterday we were having a very interesting discussion about the fact that you focus so much on the glaring, deficiencies of someone. That you forget about what this person can offer. So it's now up to coaching staff to find a way to make sure that they mask the deficiencies of Trent and show, his best abilities. But then I do feel like, for me, I just still feel like for this season, in the long run, Carvajal is the guy who's still gonna, be our person. But of course, like he's back from the injury, so we have to, give a bit of time to see how, like he's gonna like react. And also, let's not forget, like this guy is no spring chicken as well. He's I think 33, 34. So also like that's also something that you have to take into consideration. But I do think it's really good now that we actually have some kind of like lighter fixtures, relatively at least. So that helps him build some fitness and also allows him to get back to his best form, honestly.
100%, I agree. You made a very valid point, where we kind of tend to focus on Trent's defensive lapses, but yeah, man, I do think against top quality opposition, if we can't really have someone who is defensively astute, it's gonna cost us. That's what I feel, because tight games when the quality is kind of neck and neck, a drop in concentration or lack of defensive solidity can unravel the whole the whole game, to be honest.
Okay, let me paint this
mm,
for you, Sunil. Like, I think one of the greatest tormentors of Trent Alexander-Arnold in the Premier League is Gabriel Martinelli. Actually, when was
mm,
the last time Arsenal won at Anfield? Trent has played for them since 2019, basically
mm.
6, 7 years. When was the
Yeah,
last time Arsenal
valid
won at
point.
Anfield? So the point, this is the point I'm trying to make
Mm,
is that you know
mm,
what Trent is. You know that today, if Trent plays against Rafinha, Yamal, I don't know, the Ulises, the Jeremy Dokos and all those guys, they're gonna skin him. But that's
mm,
not a problem. Like, this is something that already I know that I am accepting, as a fact
mm.
that okay, this is going to happen. But the question on
Yeah.
the other hand is that we've seen how Trent has helped Liverpool defeat City many times. The games
Mm,
against Spurs, games against Chelsea. We've seen a lot of, So the point is like, how can we get that version as well? We're gonna get the
mm.
version that Martinelli torments literally every time they play. But also the point is, how can we get the other version as well? So that's what we have to, focus on. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
That's a fair shout. That's a fair shout. Yeah, I wish I had that optimism, but to be honest, maybe I just need more evidence from this side and this whole setup for me to really back this project. I mean, I love the manager. I love my boys. This is my club. This is home. So I'm gonna back it to the hilt, regardless. But the belief isn't quite there yet. Maybe I'm just protecting myself against basically it's a defensive mechanism, I think, to just cope if things don't go um, like we planned. Um, yeah, these guys need to do the job against Barcelona and Atleti, and then we speak, right?
Yeah.
The trip to Anfield is a completely different entity in itself. Liverpool, they look nowhere near as convincing as they did last year, so I'm a bit more optimistic. But yeah, we as a team, we don't create enough, and that's my concern. And we are very susceptible, to a very pedestrian break. It's super easy to play through us. So once that is a bit more fixed, I'll have a bit more faith. But yeah, the prediction still stands. I predict us to win the Champions League. So let's see how that pans out. Let's look at a few more of the comments before we wrap this slowly. Sahil was mentioning 15 points from 5 games. Vamos, I think this is one of the best starts we have had to a La Liga season. So it's encouraging in that aspect. Usually when we start this well, we tend to win the league, but we have to be wary about what Barcelona can actually do. Ashik was mentioning, I'm not going to say that. Clean sheets, baby, boring first half. Mbappe and Militao at the moment of genius, 100%. Players are still adjusting to Xavi, which takes time, but it's critical to pick up maximum points from every game. Agreed. Classic on the W will be like friendlies for us, too easy. Playing against a bunch of Real Madrid rejects at Atleti and Barcelona. Yeah, I like the renewed optimism, to be honest. Atleti, I think we have to win at the Metropolitano. It's not going to be easy, as we all know. But Atleti, they haven't looked themselves for a bit now. If we don't win at Atleti, it's going to be majorly concerning. I'll be honest. We have no we have no right to win it at the Metropolitano. It's a derby. Our record there is a bit shaky, especially in the league. But if we have to really prove a statement, this is the place we have to pick up all 3 points. It's going to be super interesting. And also the midweek trip to Levante, don't sleep on them. Really, really progressive attacking side, like Espanyol. Although they didn't really put a glove on us today, Levante is not going to be a pushover either. So yeah, important 2 games before we go to Kazakhstan in the Champions League. Super happy that Jude Bellingham and Kamavinga is back. They're going to really, really give us a lot more options. I hope Endrick gets his debut for the season as well pretty soon. He looked a little dejected at the bench. I felt a bit sorry for him. But yeah, I hope he gets his fair chance as well this season. But yeah, Farooq, any final thoughts?
Yeah, actually, just on the point of Hendrick, like that's the thing, like one thing you have to appreciate, and I think that I should have mentioned that at the beginning is that
Mm.
you appreciate the fact that you just cannot predict what Xabi Alonso is going to do with the starting line. Literally, everyone other than Thibaut Courtois and Kylian Mbappe are interchangeable. Honestly, I'm very sure there are few people who would have put money on Alvaro starting as in the front two, not on the wing. I thought Gonzalo Garcia. Like I thought like Gonzalo Garcia would most likely have started on the wing, even if he has started.
Yeah.
But he started through the middle alongside Kylian Mbappe. So that's why I feel like it seems like there's some sort of meritocracy going around. Of course, we say Kylian Mbappe, but Kylian has scored how many goals now? 7 goals since the start of the season. So you just cannot. You understand like okay, there is still some politics around that, but like he's repeated that fate. You just cannot say anything about that.
I think the untouchables are Thibaut, Mbappe, Fede, and Vinny. You could say that. I mean, not Vinny, Fede and Tchouaméni.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Yeah. I just feel like Fede and Tchouaméni. I think we saw a time where Fede did not start, and like we had Dani Ceballos as well, if I remember correctly.
Oh, but that was right after the international break. He requested Xabi Alonso to be benched. But yeah, that's
fair. That's fair.
But you're right in a sense, yeah.
The point I'm trying to make here is like now, like it's not like there's like this thing that like okay, when we're gonna play for the next 25 years, these are the people who are gonna start. Like there is a bit of like these players know that okay, yeah, if I put in the shift, there's a high chance that I get the chance. So I do feel like even I understand Hendrick was disappointed and all that, but like one thing you can take the way you can give credit to Xabi Alonso for is that he has shown that he's really to twist and turn and try. I mean, there were games where we saw like Brahim Diaz start. There's, Mastantuono has been there, so Rodrigo in and out, Vinicius in and out, so Arda Güler in and out. So I do think there is going to be, those chances and those moments for, for players like Hendrick also. So the season is very long and Xavi has shown that he's willing to, stretch the usage of the squad as well.
100%. That's one thing that I really cried out for the first game of the season. We should really, really embrace the fact that this squad, this dressing room, it needs meritocracy. That should be the basis. That should be the fundamental, platform from where we can actually build something. Because the moment we put certain individuals above the others, it's a recipe for disaster. So big up Xabi Alonso for doing that. But yeah, I hope we look a lot more easier on the eye as the weeks go by. There is slight improvement for sure, but yeah, Marseille was a tough watch. I'm hoping we don't have to watch that, for a long, long time. It's okay if it's a one-off. It's okay if we come up against a very dogged opposition and then we can't really do much. But it's concerning when it's it's a recurring theme. But yeah, Ashik was mentioning Mourinho's first match with Benfica today. Are we facing Benfica in the Champions League? We are, right? No?
No. I don't think we're facing Benfica.
No? Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, Mourinho back at Benfica. Nice. Full circle for Jose. But yeah, man. Watch out for the preview. Hopefully, I think it'll be Monday, Farooq. Make sure you guys, turn on the notification bell so that, whenever we schedule a stream, you get to know as soon as it goes up. But yeah, big up people in the chat, big up people tuning in later on as well. Thank you for showing us love over the last 4 years. We are here because you guys make this a two-way street, and we can have real football conversations about the team we love. But yeah, man, a big up our partners, of course, Talksport and Fanatics. Until next time, Hala Madrid.
Madrid.